Hello, and welcome to this mid-morning taste challenge. I have two blended Irish whiskeys. This is Bushmills Red Bush Irish whiskey, blended, aged at least 3 years in finished in ex-bourbon barrels. I don't know what it's most of the aging is done in, but the special deal with this one is that it's finished in ex-bourbon barrels. And it was introduced in 2017. And it wasn't long after that I started seeing this for a deep discount. And I couldn't explain why, although I had a suspicion that it wasn't selling very well. I found it for $9.99. And then later on, they had this full-size bottle for like $5.99, which was crazy. It's a beautiful embossed bottle. So when we kept finding it for that cheap, I told my friend David, I said, man, it's going to be discontinued. I just don't think it's selling. We really liked it. I think it tastes great, but that doesn't mean anybody else would even want to take a chance on it. Hey, but it's produced in Northern Ireland by Proximo Spirits, which is the Jose Cuervo company, but their umbrella company is called Proximo Spirits, okay? But it's not... Somebody made a video where they were saying, man, you heard that Jose Cuervo got bought out by Proximo Spirits? I'm like, ding, 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 hitting my head, with my fist. I'm like, no, it is Proximo Spirits. Now, the competitor is Proper Number 12, which is also owned by Proximo Spirits, who bought it from the creator. It was a celebrity creator. They're no longer associated with that person. But anyway, it's in a green bottle, protects it from the light more than a clear bottle. It's aged 4 years in bourbon barrels. It's not finished in bourbon barrels. It's aged 4 long years in ex-bourbon barrels. Whose bourbon barrels? Well, this I do not know. Does Proximo Spirits own a bourbon brand? I'm not aware of that, actually, but it's possible. But I don't think so. Burley Sullivan says, hey, cheers back to you. Drayton Sawyer. Good morning, Jay. My local store told me Red Bush has been discontinued. Yes, it's no longer on their website. I bought a case. It's my favorite Irish whiskey in that $20 to $25 range. Yeah, but like I said, we found it for $9.99. That was the original bottle. Now this bottle, it's almost full, you see. It was like $5.99 for a full-size bottle. I know it sounds like craziness or a lie. It sounds like you might think you're lying. Why do you have to lie? I'm not. Now I paid the regular price for this. I paid, $26.99 for this Proper number 12. It's got a real cork. This one is just a screw cap, aluminum screw cap. Now, Bushmills, they have rather inexpensive whiskeys. So for like the white label, the original, and the black label, and now there's a new Prohibition edition, which I've not tried that one, a non-chill filtered higher proof. Still, their blended line, those will run under $50. I think under $40 really, but they make a bunch of single malt Irish whiskeys, which I've seen around, but the price is high, and I'm not saying I would not buy them, because actually I would buy them. It's just that right now I'm working on this project, so I don't know when I'll get them, because I'm doing so many Irish blended whiskeys. It's just a matter of, working through that. Man, at $9, I would have bought everything they had. Yeah, it does make you want to be greedy in a way and buy them all. But I figured, everybody can experience it. They can all buy it. So this one is much paler. So the Red Bush is pale. It's more like a yellow gold bush, amber gold. Now the Proper number 12 is more amber than gold. But they're not too, they're not super different. I'll show you the website for the Red Bush, because they took it down. It's no longer listed there. I think they took it down about a year ago. Blending the finest single malt naturally, of course, the finest. Yeah, you really think it's the finest single malt and it's only 26.9? Sounds kind of strange, huh? With sweet golden grain, mostly corn, probably corn liquor. Proper number 12 is aged for a minimum of 4 years. Finest, once again, the finest charred ex-bourbon oak barrels. I said this morning where they're using Pappy Van Winkle barrels with hints of vanilla and honey to produce a smooth and complex Irish whiskey. Best enjoyed neat on the rocks or in your favorite cup. Well, I'm having them neat at room temperature. There's some cocktail ideas, the proper hot toddy. Then they go to the story of the whiskey where they do not mention the celebrity who they broke ties with. Can't blame them. But you could look up Proximo Spirits. And I'll show you what I'm talking about. Proximo Spirits. So they make a bunch of stuff. Our brands. Let's go to. They own 1800, which is a Jose Cuervo brand. Actually, 1800 was started by Jose Cuervo as an all 100% agave tequila. But most people don't know that it's owned by Cuervo. It's always been Cuervo, the world's best-selling tequila. Grand Centenario. Wow. I have a bottle. Thank you, David. Gran Coramino, another buyout. Maestro Dobel, another buyout. Reserva de Familia, Jose Cuervo. That's not a buyout. That's just the Jose Cuervo extra aged. You won't see those for $19.99, maybe $199.99. Then they have whiskey, which is what we're dealing with today. Pendleton, Canadian whiskey. Great Jones, I knew nothing about that. Bushmills, we're dealing with that now. Proper number 12, also. Stranahan's, 10 cup, I see that around. So there's that lineup. Vodka, 3 olives, yes, I see that quite a bit. I see a lot of different flavored ones, like a dirty martini flavored one and stuff like that. Rum, the Kraken, oh yes, very popular. Mezcal. Creyente, never heard of it. 400 Viejos. Yeah, I have a bottle of the Umbe. No, I'm thinking of something else. The 400 Viejos, the 400 bunny rabbits. I have a bottle. That's really good stuff. I gotta admit that. A lot of these things are in the companies they went and bought because that's what happens when you got money. You buy other companies and they sell. Are there other brands that they make that they're not listing? Almost assuredly. There's almost assuredly other brands because a lot of companies put out some really cheap, like super cheap stuff that they may not want to admit that they put out. And they'll use an alias name like Clear Creek Spirits and stuff like that. And they try to, they'll try to distance themselves. And you bring up that brand. Well, what about this stuff? Oh, we make that? Oh, yeah, right. Crystal Palace. Yeah, that's right. Heard of that. Yeah, right. You heard of it because you make it. Okay. Brown Foreman, the people that make Jack Daniels, yeah, they make some really cut rate stuff. But like I said, they put it under a Beam, same thing. Proximo, probably. I never seen one. Well, I might have seen it, didn't know what it was. Sazerac, Sazerac and Heaven Hill, they probably making most of their money off that cheap stuff. And Diageo, they all do it. Okay, all the beer companies do that. They put out stuff that they don't really want to talk about, like this Lucky Streak I'm looking at up here. Lucky Streak beer, that's put out by Anheuser-Busch, but they only sell it in certain states, and it's really good, but it's super cheap. Now, it might be the kind of thing that costs just as much to make as a Budweiser, but they sell it super cheap because they just want the volume, only selling in the 30 packs, and people buy them all day long. Kind of like Milwaukee's Best Light. They don't really want to talk about that brand, but these people buying the bricks every day, all day. In the mid 90s, it was called Cuervo 1800, but they rebranded it at some point. Oh, it was called Cuervo. Okay. I wasn't really following. Well, I definitely was not following tequila in the 90s. Bushmills and Jameson, similar taste, says Herbie. Yeah, I would not argue with that. Let me see if Walmart still got Red Bush on their website. They might still have some backstock of it. Because I noticed Bushmills is pretty popular at Walmart. Now, in Louisiana, Walmart sells liquor, and I know most states they don't. But here they do, because it's allowed. They'd do it in every state if it was allowed. Bushmills. Oh, yep, Red Bush. There it is. In stock. Pick up today at my local store. Well, what do you know? But it's out of production. But they might have thousands of bottles still in warehouses. It could take years for this stuff to go out of stock. $28.98. That's a lot more than I paid for it. But then, of course, I paid a price that is off the wall cheap. And then there's a video. Isn't this strange? There's a video on Walmart's website about Bushmills beer, whiskey. That's strange. Okay, didn't expect that. An Irish whiskey for a bourbon drinker. An Irish whiskey for a bourbon drinker. Red Bush is unique because of its aging in former bourbon barrels and sourced from the Kelvin Cooperage in Kentucky. There's your answer. Now, who does Kelvin Cooperage? I don't know. It could just be an independent company that does bourbon for whoever wants to buy it. I mean, the barrels for whatever bourbon company wants to buy them. It creates an extremely smooth whiskey of bold and complex flavor with hints of butterscotch, toffee, spice, pear, and rich vanilla. A bold new whiskey from a venerable distillery. Well, not no more. That is strange. Manufacturer Proximo Spirits. Tells you right there on the Walmart website. What I mean is strange about it is that they haven't discounted it. They're not selling it for super cut rate. Usually Walmart will just kill a product. If it's not selling, they'll sell it for $10 a bottle. A $30 bottle will sell for $10. But this is telling me it's selling there. I'm talking about there. I can't speak for other places. But Walmart doesn't play around. If stuff doesn't move, it doesn't stay on the shelf. I guarantee you that. I've seen that too many times. Proper number 12. Same price. $28.98. Yeah, they're not showing any relationship to the celebrity. They've killed all that off their website. They probably told them. Proximo Spirits probably told them, get rid of it. Proximo Spirits manufacturer. But you see, I don't think that's actually who makes it, because I don't think Proximo has a distillery in the Republic of Ireland. I think it's contracted for them. Their distillery is Bushmills in Northern Ireland, the British province of Northern Ireland. Well, makes no difference to me. The main question here is, can I tell them apart? That's questionable after the Bushmills fiasco, Bushmills Black Bush fiasco of this morning. Never dreamed such a thing could happen. And these are both similar because they both aged in ex-bourbon barrels. So, and they both 40% alcohol. One is aged 3 years, one aged 4, 1 year. So this could be tough. Here we go. So can you still find Bushmills Red Bush? Obviously, I just looked it up. It's at a store right there. I can almost stand up, look out the window and see the store, Walmart. I could definitely walk to it. It wouldn't take that long. I would not walk there. But it's less than 1 mile away. This smells really good. Rich bread, like bread and bread crust and yeast. And I don't know about the honey, but just like a really good bread, like you went to this expensive bakery and you bought this really good bread. That's how rich it is. Now let's go over here. Yeah, same thing, but maybe some maybe I'm trying to read without my glass. Maybe some honey or something. I don't know. On aroma, it's hard to say. Well, actually, I don't know. I can't tell. I can't say. Cheers. Taste time. Here we go. Is there honey here? Yes. Like a Sara Lee honey topped bread. My father and them, they love to buy that. You get sugar? Yeah. Sugar water, yeah. Do you get any oak? Yes. How about a bite to it? There's a little bitiness on the end. So it's not totally rounded out. It's a little bitey. Not the smoothest thing you ever sipped. Is it worth the $28? I don't know. I didn't pay that much for these. Like I told you, I paid $9.99 for the Red Bush, plus, of course, plus tax. Then the second go around, $5.99. I mean, you say, well, they gave it away. Yeah, basically. So to me, to pay $28.99 is hard to deal with since I only paid, you see, $5.99. So, or was it $4.99? It was some crazy price like that. Some outrage, like you can't believe it, that kind of price. So it's like you don't feel comfortable paying a regular price once you got it. But look how much I have left. It won't be a problem anyhow. Look at that. Crazy. Does Louisiana get crazy liquor prices? You better believe we do. To find Nikka from the barrel, from Nikka whiskey distillery in Japan. That's $75.99 at Total Wine and More. I looked up $75.99. To find it here in this town for $9.99 is unreal. To find 6 packs of beer at Aldi for 99 cents, that's not even like you think you were dreaming. Like, you dream stuff. Sometimes you wake up, you laugh, you're like last night I was dreaming, like this is a dream I had. A dream I had that I was in, I think, Texas, like close to the Mexican border. I don't know why I was there. And I was at this nice store, and the guy was like a Hispanic owner, Mexican American owner, and every display case around the store, he had a beer poured already in a glass inside. And I said, oh, that's so he can go around and look at his cases and drink beer while he's working. I don't know. It's a dream, it doesn't make sense. Then I went somewhere in that town and I came back and I said, oh man, I didn't realize he had all this craft beer. And I was like, I didn't remember the prices. Like I couldn't think what the prices were, but I saw all this fancy craft beer and I said, let me see what the date is on the bottom. So instead of just carefully turning it over, I wanted to flip it in my hand. You like flip it up and catch it and turn it. So then I dropped it and I heard it hit the concrete floor and it was making like a fist, like a sound. So I lifted it up and I could hear it was leaking. I said, well, now I got to drink it. I got to buy it and drink it. And then I'm not even going to make a video for it. And then I woke up and I laughed. I was like, I'm glad that didn't happen in real life. But I said to myself, that's the kind of thing that would happen in real life, that I would do that kind of thing. And I would feel stupid about it. That's the kind of thing I would do. And then you think, why'd you do that? It's funny. But yeah, so to find a 6-pack of beer for 99 cents is beyond belief. Drewski Brewski says Ronaldo B. Bell Baldo. Okay, Ronaldo Bell Baldo. Okay, thank you, Drewski Brewski. Yeah, a lot of honey going on. I'm thinking it's proper 12, Get all that out of my mouth so I can taste this one and not interfere with it. Here we go. Taste time. Not so much honey, but it's there now. It's not as much. And there's bread crust and the bourbon barrels, vanilla, a little bit vanilla. Now, would somebody drink this and think it's a bourbon? Could you give this to somebody and trick them and make them think it's a bourbon? I don't believe so. Unless they just had no experience with whiskey whatsoever, and they didn't know what a bourbon was supposed to taste like. I mean, I think any casual person would think it's a whiskey, of course, but they're not gonna think it's brandy or cognac. Well, that's the type of brandy, brandy or rum or something. But if you told somebody this is bourbon, they would think, hey, what are you talking about? This doesn't taste like bourbon. Like, I think that's what they would say. That's your name, like it or not. Okay, thank you, Drewski Brewski. Joe Hill says, morning, Ron. I'm looking forward to the baseball season this week. Might have to have some hot dogs and some Miller High Life for the Tigers game Thursday to celebrate. Yes, I'm looking forward to it, but I've been going to college baseball now for over a month, which I really like college baseball, but I do like Major League, as we all know. And so haven't been to a game in 3 years. Last one I went to was Texas Rangers at the new stadium. Oh, yeah, it was 2022, right? Or was it 21? Might have been during the scamdemic because, but it was Texas. They're like Louisiana. They weren't strict with it. It wasn't like New York where they got the KGB out there making you put your mask on. But it was Texas. There was really no regulation. But not that anybody would have followed it. I mean, some people voluntarily would because they sheeple. But it was something like that. I could look at the ticket I got around it, but it's been years. So I used to go to the White Sox and Cubs every year. Drive up there, drive to Chicago, and one day, always do it in one day. But then I guess you could say I got tired of doing it. Ronaldo Bafaldo. Oh, you changed it. Oh, you changed my name that quick. I think you could trick them into thinking it was a blended scotch, or maybe do a comparison with something like Famous Grouse or Dewar's. Yeah, I was about to say that for somebody that sidetracked me with baseball. I was about to say, yeah, I think you could make them think it was American blended whiskey. Like if they tried these two, they might think it was American or Canadian blended whiskey. I don't think that's too far of a reach. Like you say, you want to drink some Seagram 7, some 7 Crown. Oh, yeah, they might not really think about it. You know what I mean? Like they might not be concentrating on it. But if they really thought about it, they might say, wait a minute. Because it doesn't really taste like bourbon. It just tastes like maybe the bourbon affected it in some way. Not in a negative way. I don't mean that. In a positive way, but not making it taste like bourbon. No, I don't agree with it. Definitely tastes like Irish whiskey, which is not peated, not smoky. Do they have peated and smoky Irish whiskeys? Yes, they do. That's not the typical way of doing it. That's not the stereotypical way. You say the stereotypes. Oh, I see smoke. There must be a big fire. That's not natural clouds. That's a fire. White smoke. Oh, I wonder what's burning back there north of here, close to the beach. Not only, but 6 miles from the beach. It's hard to spell when yes. You must have trouble spelling all the time, which I hate to say that, but okay. Yeah, these are very similar. Very similar. Are they different? Well, that's the question. I think they have very minor differences. Now, you say, but one is from the Irish Republic. They have their own president, and one is from Northern Ireland. They're under the King, Charles III. I know about all that. That's got nothing to do with the product. they're using very similar grains, yeast, water, and so forth. So, and anyway, it was the same country until 1920, around 1920. Officially, 22 is when they split it to prevent a war, which didn't really work because they still had a war, but was a lot less of one than it could have been. But once again, that's a king's name. Are you saying that I'm a king with fame? I'm a king with fame? King with fame. Okay, I'll accept it, but your emperor will now continue. Your king and emperor. We think that they're not very different one from another. And we think that since they are age, not very different, 3 years, 4 years, they're both from Ireland. They're both the same price at Walmart, and most every other liquor store. But one is still in production and probably for a long time because it's very popular. One is out of production. Doesn't look like it ever really caught on. Oh, well, I can't help that. I don't control the world yet. So, I'm going to give it one last chance. I mean, it's basically a tie. I'm telling you up front, it's basically a tie. So would it be smart just to shop price? That'd be the best. That'd be your best avenue. Buy whichever one's cheaper. But in this case, it's probably neither one is cheaper. They're about the same price. So you're not really saving anything. Or it's not. There's no advantage / disadvantage either or one versus the other. They're even all across the board. Just the way it goes. You even have the same parent company. So in a way, it's like I'm drinking the same product in two different bottle designs, really. But I'm gonna say, without any sort of good confidence, I'm gonna say this is the proper 12 because I did think that I picked up a little bit more honeyness on it. Excuse me, and I was right. But that was a very close run thing. So I got 3 wins and 1 loss so far. It's funny that the 1 loss I have would be the one I would have predicted would be the least chance of losing, the Bushmills Black Bush. You would have thought there's no way you're going to lose that, but I did, and it just got me so discombobulated, so mixed up. But I have to move on. I have to go forward. Now, what's coming up next later in the week? Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, if I can do, and I'll try to do them those days. I think I should be able to. Well, we're moving on to different brands. How about Patty? Y'all want to see Patty's? A lot of y'all like Patty's Irish whiskey. That's a very popular brand. I got Patty's. How about Tullamore DEW? I could have bought another bottle for $9.99. They had it for $9.99. I don't want to name the store because they might get upset. But $9.99. I almost bought it, but I thought I had a great deal when I got it for $13 on 50% off sale at Walmart. 50% off. It's $26. They sold it for $13, and I was bragging. Look what I got. Look what I got. And then this store goes and sells it for $9.99, and they were like, "Look what we got." And I was like, "Man," but I got enough Tullamore. I don't need any more. But that's coming up like a flower. And then I have Teeling, small batch. You know how famous that is. I kept wondering, how could those guys, 2 brothers, form their own liquor company? How you do that? Because your family was around 200 years ago and made Teeling and it went out of business and I was like, that doesn't make sense to me. Oh, I found out how, because they were in cahoots with Bacardi all along. I don't take an issue with that, but they didn't come up with their own money. They were under the Bacardi family umbrella all along. Okay, like Barzini, it was Barzini all along. And then, so that makes more sense that they didn't just show up out the blue and they're on everybody's shelves. Nah, you ain't gonna do that with a shoestring budget. It ain't happening. So that's going to be a great one. Although I think Tullamore, I mean, I think Teeling is going to win. And then I've got Two Gingers, which I think is from the Teeling distillery, right? That was one of those founded by an independent guy, but it came under somebody else's umbrella, just the same. Pretty sure it's Teeling, right? Or is it Kilbeggan? I'm getting confused. I got Kavanaugh from Total Wine and More, but the copyright, the trademark says it's owned by Teeling, but it might be made by Teeling for Total Wine. But Kavanaugh, the purple label, which I like, and I've got the Two Gingers. Yeah, I think the Two Gingers is from Kilbeggan. That's what it is. It says it on the bottle. That's a famous brand of Irish whiskey, Kilbeggan. Two Gingers is produced at Kilbeggan Distillery, and the Kavanaugh is produced at Teeling. And then I got Drumcastle, which I don't know who makes that. I know who owns the brand. And I got Duhan's, another mystery liquor, Irish whiskey. And but there might be one or two more that I'm overlooking, but that'll be it. And then we moving on to Scotland, single malt Scotch whiskey. Who could ever get tired of that? I know I could not. So if anybody wants to see this new beer that I found, let me know now, or otherwise I'm getting off of this. I found a beer. It's going to be in your area soon. And always enjoy Daniel E. Edwards, DEW, and a brew. Okay. Sexton is another good art. That's the one I was thinking of yesterday. The Sexton. That's got the hexagon bottle shape, and it's from I think it's from Bushmills, isn't it? But it's a single malt. It's like the original Irish single malt. Yeah, the Sexton. Yeah. I've been putting that off for too long, like 10 years. I keep saying for 10 years, oh, I need to buy that. So I'm getting off the air. Thank you. And if anybody wants to see this new beer concoction that I found, let me know once. Let me know twice. Okay, gone. Never mind. I'll show y'all coming up one day, or you'll just see it when I post a video. So we all take care now. Bye-bye and have a nice day.